Yes, I spook easy. Bright lights, bad depth perception. Sue me.
All right, folks, it's that time of year.
Pumpkin spice season?
No, the other season. We're going to be moving more. We're going to be searching for food, romance.
Yes, I spook easy. Bright lights, bad depth perception. Sue me.
All right, folks, it's that time of year.
Pumpkin spice season?
No, the other season. We're going to be moving more. We're going to be searching for food, romance, and cars are going to get in the way. So what we need
You
to
see
do...
that? Our faces are literally on warning signs.
You know, we can be anywhere. Sunrise, sunset, doesn't matter.
I like being mysterious.
This way, and we need you to stop right here, and we can start here.
So maybe look out for us, especially on your work commute.
Tragedies don't stop us from loving each other and helping each other. And we have a governor that leads in that direction.
The vision is to turn a very horrible situation into something really wonderful.
This is good government, and this is what government needs to be doing for people who have been harmed by natural events.
If you had told me 3 years ago we would be this far along, I wouldn't have believed you.
Team Kentucky is very resilient, and people are strong, and I think this demonstrates that.
You know, we're not giving a handout here. We're actually helping rebuild the lives of people.
This is a story that needs to be told. These are families that should be celebrated.
It's made a very big difference in my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, rising. Action!
As excited as I am of what's going on in Kentucky, record economic success, we must recognize we are failing to provide our children with the good start they deserve. Pre-K for all is a step we must take to boost our economy, to strengthen our workforce, to better educate our kids, and to put more money in the pockets of our hardworking Kentucky families. It is a win, win, win for our people. I know it's the right thing to do. As a dad and as governor, there's nothing more important than making sure that all of our children at least have the opportunity to succeed. We need Pre-K for all to make sure every child in every corner of the Commonwealth gets that chance. Thank you all. Appreciate all your work. This is a generational project. It takes a tremendous amount of planning and coordination to make it happen. We know just how important these projects are as we build our new Kentucky home. That's why I made this project a priority for my administration. And as someone who has roots right here in Western Kentucky, I couldn't be more excited about the opportunities this is going to open for this region. This is our chance to leave a special legacy. Our kids, our grandkids, and our great-grandkids are going to have more shots of pursuing any dream they dream of in Kentucky than any generation before them.
To these families today, it's really good to be here, and it's good to see your families doing well. I hope you feel like today is the beginning of a new story, a good and happy story. You are not alone. We will always be here with you. Scripture tells us, I alone know the plans I have for you, plans to bring you prosperity and not disaster, plans to bring about the future you hope for. Welcome home.
Snow and ice spice season is upon us, but we want you to rest assured that the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is fully prepared. You can see this pile of salt behind me. Salt is extremely important in lowering the freezing point of water, so we lay it down so that it takes that snow and ice on our roadways and starts to break it down so it keeps our roads safe and clear of snow and ice. We have liquid materials on hand that we use as well, salt brine and calcium chloride, as well as the new product that we'll start using this year. The salt brine we'll lay down before an event a lot of times, and we'll also use it to pre-wet our salt. So if you see trucks out ahead of an event, if it's sunny 24 to 48 hours ahead of time and it's not going to rain or ice or anything before the snow arrives, that's our salt brine. And then we use the calcium chloride to pre-wet our salt when pavement temperatures go below 25 degrees, so it helps our salt continue to be effective at those cold temperatures. Our crews have been working since October to train and to get their trucks ready and to get everything calibrated and ready to go so that when the snow falls, we'll be ready to make sure the Kentuckians are safe. So we ask you to work with us because we're all in this together and we're all a team. So when you see our crews out on the roads, give them space to work. So if you got to be out at all during the event, please drive safe and drive smart.
Hi, it's Rachel. Stay tuned. The Team Kentucky update will start soon.
I just heard that in 24 states and Puerto Rico, there are Humana groups going out and helping their communities, but nobody does it like Louisville. Nobody does it like Kentucky. Thank you for being a shining example for this country and this world. Thank you all very much. Have a great day. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andy, and welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. Today, we're going to start with great news on our progress to provide safe medical cannabis to eligible Kentuckians. As of this morning, safe, regulated medical cannabis is available in Lexington, Kentucky. As you might recall, on January 1st, 2025, medical cannabis was made legal in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Today, just a little over a year later, I'm proud to say that Team Kentucky has launched every step of the process. From the cultivators who grow the plant to the processors, safety compliance facilities, and dispensaries, we now have at least one of each of those categories open and operating in Kentucky. Just yesterday, we celebrated two major milestones. First, in Richmond, we cut the ribbon on the new Natural State Green Grass Canico cultivator. These are the folks that grow the medical cannabis. Then we headed to Lexington and cut the ribbon on the new Speakeasy dispensary in Hamburg. This is our second dispensary that's been opened where eligible Kentuckians can purchase safe, regulated medical cannabis. And today, the ribbon's being cut on Kentucky's first processor, Bison Infused in Dayton. This will result in multiple products being available in the coming weeks for eligible Kentuckians. It's taken a lot of hard work and commitment, but it's worth it because it's going to change people's life for the better. Next, we have an update on tourism. After 3 record-breaking years for Kentucky tourism, I'm excited to announce even more good news for this important industry and our state. First, we have a recap on projects approved from our Tourism Development Incentive Program last year. This program, which allows eligible projects to recover up to 25% of approved development costs, sparks investment in Kentucky's tourism industry. It helps grow our booming economy, and it delivers jobs for our people. Last year, we announced 5 new projects across Kentucky. These generated an estimate $118 million of investment to our state, and once they are complete, they'll create 298 new jobs. These projects included a $58.5 million modernization of the Hyatt Regency Lexington in Fayette County. They're going to add about 15 jobs in that facility. It included a $27.5 million investment in the expansion of Kentucky Kingdom in Louisville. That's our state's largest amusement park, which is projected to create an additional 105 jobs. It includes an $18.3 million investment to create Malibu Jack's indoor theme park in Davis County, which is expected to create 125 new jobs. An $8 million investment to create the Crown Plaza Hotel in Warren County, expected to create 30 jobs. And a $5.5 million investment to develop the Grand Nicholson Event Center in Kenton County, which is projected to create 23 jobs. These projects are bringing opportunities to Kentuckians and visitors alike, and I know they'll benefit our communities and our entire state. Next, I'm excited to share progress and investments happening in our Kentucky state parks. Through the last budget, we had some real record investment in our state parks in improving them. Some of the first renovations to lodges in decades. I'm really excited on the experience that we're going to be able to deliver to people who travel to Kentucky in our state parks, or to Kentuckians who spend their vacation time at our state parks. So next month, Barren River Lake State Resort Park will undergo a $9.5 million renovation to enhance the visitor's experience and attract new travelers. The investments will include renovating lodge rooms, the restaurant, the lobby, meeting spaces, and the park's HVAC system. We have a video that has some more details on the renovation.
Hey Kentucky, we've got some good news about Barren River Lake State Resort Park. The park is getting a $9.5 million upgrade to make your visit even better. That means new and improved lodge rooms, floor, updated bathrooms, and mini fridges. The restaurant, lobby, and meeting rooms are getting a makeover too. We're also upgrading things behind the scenes like the heating and cooling systems so your stay will be more comfortable year-round. The renovation will temporarily close all lodge rooms beginning in February, with the new and improved rooms expected to reopen in the fall. These renovations build on the New Kentucky Home Initiative, enhancing the visitor experience and attracting new people to the Commonwealth to live, work, and play. Follow us for more good news.
We're also making an investment in Kentucky artists. The arts fuels tourism, our economy, and they make our community more welcoming to folks that might make Kentucky their new Kentucky home. That's why I'm proud to announce 112 nonprofit arts organizations across the Commonwealth will receive over $1.2 million in grants. These grants provide more opportunities for everyone in Kentucky to enjoy the arts all year long. The recipients include Barn Lot Theater in Edmonton, Red Oak Center for Nature and the Arts in Stanton, First Friday Berea in Berea, Green Room Exchange in Lexington, Appalachia Book Company, Union Commonwealth University in Barberville, Viva Voices Choral Organization in Covington, Louisville Chorus Inc. in Louisville, Casa de la Cultura, Kentucky in Lexington. Congratulations to all those recipients. Finally, I'm excited to announce the launch of the 2026 Kentucky Visitors Guide. From outdoor adventures to the arts, famous horse tracks, to our unique culinary scene, our new Kentucky home is a world-class destination. This year's guide highlights unique Kentucky experiences, an expanded festivals and events section, a new regional road trip itinerary, a dedicated 2-page spread spotlighting America's 250th anniversary celebration, and more. The new guide will be available at all Kentucky Welcome Centers across the Commonwealth. Folks, can also request a free copy or view an interactive version at KentuckyTourism.com. I encourage folks to grab a guide and explore a new spot in Kentucky. And remember to use the hashtag #NewKYHome to share your travel experiences and invite more folks to come to our great state. Thank you to everyone in our tourism industry who helped make the Commonwealth such a special place to visit. Next, we have an update on our work to support law enforcement basic training. Last Thursday, 16 officers graduated from the Department of Criminal Justice Training's Basic Training Class 564. This was held at the new Western Kentucky Law Enforcement Training Facility in Madisonville. Class 564 was the second to graduate from that facility. And since it opened last February, 37 officers have completed their basic training at the facility. Making sure Kentucky is not only safe, but that all Kentuckians feel safe at all times is our goal in graduating more law enforcement officers. Supporting law enforcement training and increasing the number of officers who are ready to serve is one way we do that. That's why we opened the Western Kentucky facility last winter, so that we could save resources for local agencies and train more officers. We're building on that work as we prepare to build a standalone, state-of-the-art, multi-purpose training facility in Madisonville. The General Assembly previously provided $50 million for this project, but to make it a reality and to keep Kentucky a national leader in law enforcement training, we need to do more. That's why I requested $64.8 million in my final budget proposal to get this project fully complete. We also have more officers graduating out of our Richmond location later today, with 29 officers completing their basic training. On behalf of Team Kentucky, congratulations to these new officers, and thank you for looking out for our safety. Next, we've got an update on a cold case arrest from 1991. Every day we work to obtain justice and peace for victims of crime and their families. One way we're doing this is through the work of the Office of the State Medical Examiner. The medical examiner plays a vital role in the investigative process. The office provides law enforcement with forensic evidence used to identify and prosecute subjects. Because of the nearly 3,000 examinations the court conducts each year, Kentucky's safer and more families get the closure that they deserve. We saw this last week, thanks to the collaborative efforts of the State Medical Examiner's Office and the Kentucky State Police. Their work led to an arrest in the 3-decade-old cold case out of Madison County. In 1991, an unidentified baby was found dead at a landfill in Madison County. Following an investigation, the State Medical Examiner's Office found that the baby was born healthy before being placed in a dumpster at Eastern Kentucky University. Despite investigative efforts, the case went cold, but the medical examiner, along with KSP detectives in the forensic lab, did not give up. Thanks to the Office of the State Medical Examiner, the Kentucky State Police, and other law enforcement agencies, justice is being served. Last week, these agencies identified a person of interest living in Virginia, and the suspect was arrested and lodged in a Kentucky jail right here in Kentucky. Today, we have a video from the Chief Medical Examiner, Dr. Ralston, discussing this case.
Thank you, Governor Beshear, for taking the time to recognize the important work of the Office of the State Medical Examiner and forensic investigators across the Commonwealth. I know how much work goes into cases like this. The autopsy is just one piece of the puzzle, identifying injuries and disease, determining the cause of death, and recovering and securing evidence. But often, much more is needed. Death investigation is truly a team effort, which is why I am proud to work with Kentucky State Police investigators, the Crime Lab, other local law enforcement investigators, and coroners across the Commonwealth. I know the job is going to get done. Cases like this one are always in the back of my mind, but I know one day justice will be served. Advances in forensic pathology, investigative techniques, and forensic laboratory science, such as DNA technology, allow us to better serve Kentucky and find answers in cold cases like this. Thanks to the teamwork between our office, the Kentucky State Police, and local law enforcement, we were able to secure justice for this infant and for the Madison County community who were invested in this case and were hoping for an outcome like the one we got. Justice and closure are our purpose and are behind everything my office does. Together, we support Kentucky families in tough times and support Kentuckians when they need it most. We are proud to serve and will continue to work each day in the name of a safer, new Kentucky home. Thank you.
Thank you to Dr. Ralston and the Kentucky State Police. This upcoming Monday, January 19th, is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Born in Atlanta, Georgia, Martin Luther King Jr. was a visionary, a true public service committed to justice, equality, and fairness for all people. He led the March on Washington, was instrumental in the passage of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964, and he even led the March on Frankfurt right here 62 years ago with Jackie Robinson. After a year of division and unimaginable challenges, it's so important that we remember the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and reflect on his impact. I believe it's our job to never stop standing up for what's right, especially when others are intent on spreading hate. We can't beat hate with more hate. We can't beat cruelty with anything other than humanity. We win by lifting others up and showing love and acceptance every day. To do that, we must end the racial injustice that continues to hurt our people and holds our society back from its full potential. Dr. King said that when one commits themselves to the noble struggle for equal rights, they make themselves a better person. They make a greater nation of their country and a finer world to live in, and there is no more important mission than that. I know I'll never be able to feel the ever-present weight of racism, of inequality, and injustice. But I am committed to listening, hearing, learning, and taking action. I've been proud to work with folks across Kentucky to move our Commonwealth forward. It's why I work to restore voting rights for what is now nearly 200,000 people, those that had had their voices silenced but are now able to be heard again because there is power in second chances. At the state level, I made Juneteenth an executive branch holiday because every Kentuckian should know that their government recognizes this important day in our history. It's also why I signed an order based on the Crown Act, which prohibits discrimination against state workers because of hairstyles historically associated with race. We removed the statue of Jefferson Davis from our state capitol because a glaring symbol of bigotry and division doesn't belong in any rotunda anywhere in this country. It's why I vetoed anti-DEI legislation and why we've worked to support our great HBCUs. In 2021, I signed legislation to support our 2 HBCUs. This helped students attending Simmons and Kentucky State University receive tuition grants, and it encouraged collaboration between the 2 schools to help more students attend. These schools don't just serve the college students enrolled, they also lift up other Kentuckians in their communities. Like my kids. When Will and Lila graduate from Frankfurt High School, they'll have an associate's degree from Kentucky State University. Through our efforts, Team Kentucky has partnered with both Simmons and KSU to create opportunities and programs to support health, teacher preparation, second chances, and more. I'm grateful for both of these schools and the positive impact they're making in Kentucky and beyond. And through the implementation of new signs and historic markers to celebrate our HBCUs, we're sharing that pride with everyone. Here in Kentucky, we've now secured 68,000 new good jobs for our people. We're making meaningful investments in addressing the needs of communities that have been forgotten for far too long. We're bringing jobs to Kentuckians versus expecting Kentuckians to travel or to move to jobs. And now, families are seeing more good-paying opportunities than ever before. When we are intentional, we can make a difference. And this is the progress we will build on together. We cannot stop, because as Dr. King also said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Folks, we have a president who denies that racism even exists. A president who removed MLK Day and Juneteenth from next year's free admission days to our national parks and included his own birthday instead. Here's where I stand. I believe diversity is always a strength and never a weakness. That the story of Martin Luther King Jr. and our country's long march for justice and freedom is bigger than any one president, and this march is going to outlast any single administration. I believe our diversity of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives opens the door to new ideas and a brighter future for Kentucky and the United States of America. And I believe that at this time in our country, it's our job to speak up. Together, we can make a difference. And I am proud to say that this governor will stand with you, walk beside you, and do the work needed to move forward together. Let's keep working together and celebrating those like Martin Luther King Jr. who've shown us the way. Next, we have Dr. Stack with us to share this month's goal for our Healthy Kentucky Home.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, Team Kentucky. So during the second year of the Our Healthy Kentucky Home initiative, we continue to promote simple, attainable goals that help everyone achieve better health and wellness by eating at least 2 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, exercising at least 30 minutes 3 times per week, and engaging with others to stay socially connected. The Our Healthy Kentucky Home initiative helps individuals and families build strong foundations through healthy eating, regular physical activity, and meaningful social connections. It also highlights resources and programs available to Kentuckians, supporting families all across the Commonwealth, including those with specific or more complex needs. Across Kentucky, thousands of children are living with special health care needs. For more than 100 years, the Office for Children with Special Health Care Needs, or OCHN, has supported Kentucky families by helping children access care, services, and guidance they need to grow, learn, and thrive. OCHN partners with families, healthcare providers, and communities so every child has the chance to reach their fullest potential. A core part of OCHN's work is providing access to specialty medical care. OCHN operates medical clinics across Kentucky that offer expert evaluation, diagnosis, and treatment for special needs related to neurologic diseases, autism, orthopedic conditions, hearing loss, and more. For qualifying patients, these clinics focus on managing complex medical conditions and supporting overall health. Families of qualifying children also benefit from comprehensive care coordination, with OCHN staff helping schedule appointments, connect with specialists, and coordinate with local providers to ensure services are accessible and family-centered. In addition to medical clinics, OCHN partners with many existing programs across the Commonwealth that provide early intervention and developmental services focused on communication, functional skills, and healthy development programs such as the Kentucky Early Intervention System, otherwise known as KEYS, which serves infants, toddlers, and others with developmental delays or disabilities by supporting their parents or primary caregivers with education and skill building so they can better support and help their children during the most critical years of growth. Helping children build skills early while empowering families, and you can scan a QR code on the slide to get more information. OCHN also operates the Kentucky Early Hearing Detection and Intervention Program, otherwise known as EDI, which ensures newborns receive hearing screenings, timely follow-up testing, and early intervention services when needed. By identifying hearing concerns early, EDI helps identify children, it helps children develop language and communication skills and supports families from the very beginning of their child's journey. If you have a child you think may benefit from the programs OCHN has to offer, please call 1-800-232-1160 to speak to an OCHN staff member today. Helping children grow into confident, independent adults is a key part of OCHN's purpose. Through OCHN's Family-to-Family Health Information Center, parents and caregivers are connected with trained advisors who have lived experience and can offer guidance, emotional support, and help accessing vital resources that support OCHN patients from childhood through adulthood. This includes connections to partners such as the Kentucky Commission on the Deaf and Hard of Hearing that supports access to education, advocacy, and community resources for individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing throughout every stage of life. To learn more, please visit the Commission's website at www.kcdhh.ky.gov. To learn more about the Office for Children with Special Health Care Needs, the Kentucky Commission on the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, or more about the Our Healthy Kentucky Home Initiative, please visit our website at ourhealthykyhome.ky.gov and join us on this journey as we work together to help every Kentuckian achieve better health and reach their full potential. Governor?
Thank you to Dr. Stack, and also thank you to our ASL interpreter, Rachel, who is on the broadcast making sure that every family can get that information. Rachel's been with us from the very start. She would sub in for Virginia at updates during the pandemic and is still making sure that information is accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community for each and every one of these updates. Finally, I'm proud to share that our investment in tourism are paying off and that folks are taking notice of our new Kentucky home. Any Kentuckian can tell you about the warmth and kindness of our people, but now the rest of the world knows a little more about it too. This week, Condé Nast Traveler's Reader's Choice Awards announced Lexington was voted the #1 most tourist-friendly city in the U.S. The city was also recognized as the 6th best food city in the U.S. and ranked 8th best small city in the U.S. These are incredible accomplishments, and I want to congratulate the City of Lexington and Visit Lex. I'd also like to thank the people of Lexington because it wouldn't have earned this award without you. Also this week, Louisville was recognized by Movie Maker magazine as one of the best places to live and work as a movie maker. Our film industry is full of creative, hardworking Kentuckians, and Team Kentucky has been supporting this effort through our film office, which is making progress daily. I'm proud to see these efforts recognized as we work together to ensure more film opportunities come to Kentucky. These efforts create jobs, boost our economy, and promote our new Kentucky home as a destination to visit, work, and live. So this week, I'm naming Lexington's tourism community, everybody who lives in Lexington, Louisville, and our film industry as this week's Team Kentucky All-Stars. Kentucky, we are no longer a flyover state. We are a destination. Even the travel magazines say so. Keep up the good work. All right, with that, we'll open it up to our journalists, 2 in studio, 4 on the line. We'll start with Carolina.
Governor, we're seeing bills that would make changes to the driver's licensing process. The one in the Senate, which would bring renewals and duplicates back to local communities. It appears to have quite a bit of momentum. Would you support these changes? Do you have any concerns about them?
So we're reviewing that Senate bill right now, and I think may even have a counter proposal to send back to the sponsor. We are where we're at in driver's licensing because about 6 years ago, as the first deadline for Real ID was coming online, the circuit clerk said they no longer wanted to do it. And so the General Assembly passed a law, this was their move, that said, Transportation Cabinet, you're going to take this over. We spent 6 years building out something from scratch, trying to create as many regional offices as we can. In the meantime, 3 things happened that have increased the number of people coming in person to the offices. The first and largest is the new vision screenings you have to have. That has dramatically increased the number of people coming in person versus online. The second was the 15-year-olds being able to get their permits because it took place immediately, and so that added another influx. And the third was the federal government will actually enforce their Real ID deadline, which sent more people there. We think we've now gotten through that press of folks, that additional volume. Wait times are way down. Satisfaction is going up. My concern about changing the system is everybody else is going to have to start from scratch now and go through possibly those 6 years of the learning curve. Now, one way that could help is if some of the vision screening could be done locally, because that's what's driving people in. You know, people who used to just renew online, if they can do the vision screening in their own community and then go online, that could resolve a whole lot of it as well. So happy to work with legislators on it, but I want to make sure that we don't just scrap a system that we've worked 6 years to build and then start a new system from scratch, because I think we'll have the same problems and concerns. Piper.
Another policy question related to some immigration bills filed to require local police to work with the ICE. So we talked about that a little bit last week after the Minneapolis shooting. Just wanted to know if you had reviewed any of those policies or had a response to those legislators.
Well, I haven't reviewed the bills specifically, but any bill that mandates that our law enforcement work with ICE upon their request is going to make us less safe instead of safer. First, those officers don't have the specific training in immigration law, which is very different than other laws. I actually worry about how much ICE trains their agents in immigration law. Now, you're supposed to have a level of due process. There's supposed to be very particular questions and parts of an investigation. Immigration law isn't about seeing somebody that looks like they might not be from the United States and throwing them in handcuffs. That's not who we are as people, and that's not what immigration law allows. But here's my greater concern, and we're seeing it on the federal side, is every say KSP trooper that's on our child crime task force that now has to go do immigration are catching less child predators. That detective working on a murder investigation that now has to go over and work on immigration, that family is not getting justice. We have counties where we only have 2 troopers and maybe a sheriff and a deputy that do all the law enforcement in it. They respond to domestic violence incidences. Are they now not going to do that because they have to respond to this immigration call? When we think about public safety, there are so many areas that our law enforcement protect us that they would be taken off that mission and moved to something else. And listen, with the amount of money that Congress provided to ICE, they have enough agents. They don't need other law enforcement. But I will reiterate that the actions of ICE appear overly aggressive, outside the bounds of normal law enforcement, outside procedures that would be used by normal law enforcement to even keep the community around their operations safe. Now, this is not a country where we drag people out of cars, where we shackle their legs, and where we use fear, especially against our citizens. And this idea that the president would invoke the Insurrection Act is preposterous, and it's also just another proof point that President Trump so desperately seems to want to use the U.S. military to attack our own U.S. citizens, that he wants to cause physical violence to people he disagrees with. That is not presidential, and it's pretty dangerous. All right, on the line, we got Karen Czar.
Good afternoon, Governor. Thank you. Kind of expanding on Piper's question, we're hearing reports, unsubstantiated, we're trying to verify that ICE agents are currently in Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry.
I can.
We have reports that ICE agents are currently in Frankfurt, and we're trying to verify that. And our question is, are they required to inform local or state law enforcement where they are and when, or your administration? And then with medical marijuana, I was at the opening at the dispensary in Lexington this morning, and they are confident that they are going to be able to remain open and that product will be steady. You seem to indicate that you believe that that is the case, and I just wanted to make sure that was accurate. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any information on an ICE operation in Frankfurt. They are not required to notify us or local law enforcement. Now, I will say there may be times where if they are going to carry out an operation, if there are ways to keep the community around that operation safer, that's something that any law enforcement organization ought to think about. Also, if they're going after a dangerous criminal, we ought to want it to be done in a way that is safe and protects our people. I do believe that Speakeasy is going to have a product that they're not going to run out, because I went and saw their cultivator yesterday too. It is a $28 million operation. That's what they spent. The amount of science in the operation is pretty amazing. The cultivator is going to have about 100 employees by the end, and what I saw there, I believe, should keep the Speakeasy up, operational, and running. Aaron Mudd, Lexington Herald Leader.
Thank you, Governor. Just to follow up on the medical marijuana piece, can you give a quick rundown of the cultivators, processors, and dispensaries that are currently open and operating across the Commonwealth?
I can do that. I think right now we have 4 cultivators that are up and operating. There's Kentucky Ops LLC in Jessamine County. There is Natural State Greengrass Canico that I visited yesterday in Madison County. There's Armory, Kentucky in Graves County. And then there's Going Blue. They go under the name Farm-Tucky in Jessamine County. So those are the cultivators. We have the 2 dispensaries that are open. There's the Post in Ohio County, though I believe they're going to have more product, if not today, in this week or the coming weeks, and Speakeasy in Lexington. We have one processor open as of today, Bison Infused. That's who takes part of the product and turns it into things like gummies or other lawful medical cannabis products. And then we have 2 safety compliance facilities that are open, and that's Aquatic Laboratories and KCA Laboratories. So hopefully I hit all those. There are 9 medical cannabis operations, though certainly the safety compliance facilities may do other work too, but 9 medical cannabis types of facilities that are up and operating in Kentucky. Isaiah Kim Martinez.
Thank you, Governor. I just had a quick question about JCPS. I don't know how closely you've been following their budget situation, but obviously biggest public school district in the state. You've talked a lot about public education. They're facing a pretty massive budget shortfall, and they're basically trying to figure it out. There's been some chatter in the legislature about potential oversight into financial decisions both their board and Fayette County's board makes. What's your take on the JCPS financial situation, and does oversight need to happen to some degree?
Well, oversight is typically conducted by KDE and or different audits that can occur. But oversight and transparency is always a good thing. Now, the legislature, under the law, only exists when they're in session. But they certainly can have committee meetings where they call and the superintendent can walk through it. But generally, having the information out there about what causes a shortfall and what the ways to address it are, those are all good things. Sam Neff from Spectrum with our last question.
Hi, Governor. You recently announced $2.3 million to enhance Kentucky's river ports and increase economic opportunities. 500,000 of that, I think, is coming to where I'm located here in Owensboro and Henderson. Could you please explain why these are important investments?
Oh, these are critical investments because Kentucky is a logistics state. One of my biggest pitches that I make, especially on an overseas trip, is if you are a company that doesn't have a U.S. presence and you want access to the U.S. markets, you want to sell what you make in U.S. markets, the place you ought to put your manufacturing facility is in Kentucky. Why? Because you can reach 60+% of the country's population in a one-day drive. But that's not the only way that products are moved. Products are moved by rail. Products are moved by air, and products are moved by river. These river ports are essential to certain types of industries. We would not have Pratt Paper in Henderson but for their access to the river. So what this does is it helps us to create more industrial and other sites. It helps us recruit more companies. It helps us compete for that company that pays really good wages but has to have access to a river port. So it's going to make your area and every area that's invested in more competitive. We're going to be able to check more of the boxes that any of these companies would have. And both Owensboro and Henderson have been really hot in economic development, recognized nationally for all the businesses they're bringing in, and we want to keep that happening. All right, our next Team Kentucky update is 2 weeks from today. We'll see you then.